Yeah, we're really excited to get started here in Big East play. The Big East is in my opinion the best conference in all of college basketball. There's obviously terrific coaches, some tremendous players. Um, it's going to be a challenge, and we get a chance to start us off on the road here at Providence at 6:30 on Saturday. Coach Cooley, I got a lot of respect for him. His team is tough. They're always very, very physical. They're going to change defenses constantly throughout the game. They'll play some 2-3 zone. They'll press a little bit. They'll play man-to-man. They run a million set plays. He does a terrific job, and he's got a couple great players. David Duke is as good as any guard in our league. Nate Watson is as good as any big man in our league, and I think they have great depth this year. So it's going to be a great challenge. I think the tougher team will ultimately win the game, as it usually plays out against Providence. But we're really looking forward to Saturday.
First question for Coach.
Coach, what would you like to see from your team on Saturday? Like, what do you think? Hey, if I see this, we're going to start the Big East off on the right foot with a win.
Adam, I think it starts with just that dirt under the fingernails identity, right? And what do I mean by that is, got to be willing to do the little things. Got to be able to block out with physicality. Got to be willing to take charges. Got to be the first team on the floor for loose balls. Got to have that nastiness on the defensive end, that toughness on the defensive end. Have to make them earn their points. If we can get that, then I think we'll have some success in the Big East.
John Fanta.
Travis, just to look at what he's brought, not only from a scoring perspective like we saw from last night, but just what you've seen and what he's been able to do for the program. What can you say about Nate Johnson now that we're 7 games in and just what he continues to do?
Nate is he's steady Eddie. I mean, he's the same guy every single day in practice. His expressions rarely change in the games as well. It's just who he is, man. He's a process-oriented guy. He works really, really hard on his craft. He comes ready every single day. I mean, he's a great shooter, obviously. I mean, that's the obvious. He's one of the better shooters in the entire country. But he's also a tremendous defender. He's a lockdown guy for us. He understands our system. He's picked it up extremely well for a new guy. He's picked it up really well, and that's allowed him to really flourish on that end. Then he rebounds the ball well. So he impacts the game in a lot of different areas. Our players, obviously, have a high level of respect for Nate. Again, I think he's a tremendous player. He's been a great addition for our program.
Just to follow along the lines of the offensive performance last night, obviously no team is going to just explode for 19 threes every single time out. That being said, how much is last night a testament to the unselfish nature of this team offensively?
I think, we had 28 assists on 36 made field goals last night against Oklahoma, and our ball moves. I mean, our ball really, really, really moves. You look at our assist-to-turnover ratio, whether it's Paul Scruggs, DeJuan Odom, Colby Jones, all of our guys, man. I mean, it's off the charts. And our guys, the phrase we like to use, John, with our players all the time is do what the game tells you to do. Don't overcomplicate it. If you drive the ball and nobody helps, then finish. If you drive the ball and a guy helps, that means somebody else is open. That means you got to land on 2 or you kick it out or see down to one of our bigs. But our spacing's been really good. Our ball movement's been really good, and that's got to continue moving forward. But that's a strength of our team.
Adam?
Travis, we've talked about your rotation and how important that is to figure that out. Did you learn anything last night on that front, or did that game reveal anything to you that you can kind of utilize for your rotation going forward?
Adam, I think each game kind of presents different challenges. I still think we got to figure it out. I think we're far from it. We got a lot of depth. Certain nights it's different. It's going to be different nights, different guys. They're going to step up, and we're going to play the hot hand. We're going to play the hot hand. Like Nate was obviously really hot last night, so he got in a little bit of an extended run. And our guys understand that. You know, they're all about winning. You know, they're going to put the team before the individual. But I think we got to see what how the data kind of bears out here over a few more games, just to see what lineups are best as far as, hey, what's our best defensive lineup? What's our best offensive lineup? What's our best, ball security lineup? All that different data will kind of bear itself out as we get more data here over the next few games.
John?
All right. This is a question that could have a variety of avenues to answer. So do you have, I'm sure you do, but do you have an Ed Cooley story that pops in your head immediately? Or is there something that comes to mind when you face him? Maybe something that's happened in a Big East coaches meeting that comes to mind just with Ed, because obviously he's one of the more unique personalities anywhere.
Boys could go a lot of different directions. I'll say two things. Number one, he is a huge personality. He is an incredibly funny person. But he's also he's got a huge heart. Ed does, and I think so. Number one, he got us on a play that we ran, and he stole it from us, just like we still plays from him. We all still plays from each other, and he winked at our bench after they scored. So he's just funny. But number two, I'll never forget year one here for me as the head coach, John. We had lost 6 games in a row, and he called me. And he said, hey, man, just checking in on you. I just want to make sure you're doing a great job, man. Stick with it. This league's tough. Every game's going to be hard. It's the best league in college basketball. And just for him to reach out speaks volumes to Ed Cooley as a person. Obviously we all know him as this huge, vibrant personality, funny guy, but he has a huge heart, man. He cares about people. And I think a lot of people probably don't get to see that side of Coach Cooley. He's obviously well-liked amongst all coaches for a variety of reasons, but he's also a tremendous coach as well.
Adam?
Travis, how worried were you last night at the start of that game that you might only have Dante with you on the bench?
You know what? It is what it is. I told our staff they must have been scared. They tried to lock themselves in the coach's locker room. It was bizarre. So it was funny. Like I just walked out the door to go onto the floor about 3 minutes before the game. Dante was right behind me. Then all of a sudden I start hearing banging on the doors. I'm about to walk down. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Those guys were locked in there. They jammed up like I don't know how doors work, but I know the lock messed up or whatever it was. And so I thought they were joking at first. I was like, what are they doing? It's like they're just being we got game. I just went on out to the floor. And then Jackson came out and said, hey, listen, they can't get out. I'm like, really? What the heck is going on here? He's like, yeah, they're going to have to break the door down. I was like, what is going on? So I told one of the officials knew the situation. I mean, because it was weird. So during the national anthem, during all the the starting lineups, announcements, and all that stuff, we started the game. Then all of a sudden, you see Ben Johnson, Jonas Hayes, Matthew Graves, Mario Mercurio running out onto the bench. It was kind of funny, honestly, when you look back at it. But I figured they'd get out at some point, right? I figured Jonas Hayes would actually be strong enough just to knock it down, just to be honest. You would think he would be, he's one of the strongest human beings I've ever been around. So I'm surprised he just didn't kick it down.
Adam?
Well, that's where that 30 pounds that he lost could have come in handy knocking that door down.
Yeah, he should have thought twice about doing all that exercise.
We kind of talked about this prior to the UC game, and the fact that you guys do have so many new players, and I feel like this is probably a conversation that's very similar to before the Crosstown shootout. But how do you prepare these guys? Like, how do you explain to them what it's like to compete and play in the Big East?
Yeah, I think the good thing for us is we've kind of, we've had an opportunity to play UC. We've had an opportunity to play Oklahoma. A couple teams that are physically as big as some of the other teams that we're going to play in the Big East, right? And, just making sure that they know the identity of each team, right? I think that's critically important. And, like Providence, for example, I mean, they're one of the tougher teams in our league. They're going to make it a street fight. That's how they want to play. They're going to be physical. And you got to know that going into the game. So we'll watch, we'll show them film of last year's game, both the games we played against Providence, just some clips and some moments, just to give our guys a really good feel for what the game's going to be like. But then we also rely on guys like Paul Scruggs, obviously Zach Freemantle, Kiki Tandy, Jason Carter, guys that have played in the Big East before. We let those guys talk. Make sure, again, I want the new guys to hear their thoughts on Big East play. And it's like I told our guys today. To me, we're 0-0. I don't care about the 7 games we played to this point. And this is a whole new season. We're 0-0. We have to earn everybody's respect, right? I think the coaches had us picked either 7th or 8th in the league. We got to earn people's respect, and that starts on Saturday.
John?
All right, I just wanted to do this in front of all 3 of you. Okay? Tom, you should unmute yourself. Let's just talk Browns the rest of this press conference.
Take it off, John.
Hey, John didn't want to do this in previous years, right? So you're having a great year, John.
Oh, there's no reason to do it. It's like when people are like, act like you've been there. It's like when people, my dad always say, act like you've been there before. And I always turn to him and I say, Dad, they've never been there before.
You guys are having a heck of a season. The Browns are good right now.
Yeah, and John won't stop talking about it. It's killing me over here.
Tom Iser's excited too underneath that mask.
Oh, there's no question he is. He's got a big smile, ear to ear.
I know he is. I guess I just have one other thought here, and that is, Providence kind of plays. They've been playing a style that you are familiar to, but it feels like old school basketball. Like it feels like this could be an old school type of game. Can you just reflect on the prep? And it just looks as if, Travis, that Nate Watson is kind of a different animal right now.
Yeah, he's like I said, he's as good as any big in our league, and I think he's as good as any big in the country. I mean, he can score. He's a walking double-double. He controls the paint. He's that physical presence. So our game plan will center around him. We got to try to make his catches tough. We got to make it sticky for him in there, be 2 places at once. It is, like they're playing slower. Providence is. Their pace of play is a little bit slower this year. They're playing through the post. They're taking their time. They're going to be tough. They're going to be physical. They're going to change defenses constantly. I mean, he is. I mean, he's going to go 2-3, then he's going to trap out of the 2-3 zone, then he's going to go man-to-man, then he's going to press a little bit. He may change up his press. So we can't allow that to throw us out of rhythm. And the good thing for us, John, is like we practice that way, just to be honest, because we've been mixing up defenses as well this year, whether we're playing our zone or our press, going into man, changing ball screen defense. And I think that's really helped our offense as well because of that. But again, we got to prepare ourselves for the glass to be ready. I mean, I keep on saying it, but again, like we answered the bell against UC. I thought we were pretty good in the first half against Oklahoma, not as good in the second half on the defensive glass. We have to rebound the ball. You look at the 2 games that Providence has lost, they got crushed on the glass against Indiana and against Alabama. And if we want to have a chance to win this game, we got to win the war on the glass.
You just played Cincinnati and Oklahoma, and obviously those are big-time matchups. Do you think, though, that on Saturday, coaches sometimes say this, that there's just a different gear when you get into your league, and in particular this league? Like, do you think that you'll sense that, feel that, or do your guys just know the Big East is different?
I think our guys know. We play our non-conference schedule. We scheduled all those teams to get us ready to play in the Big East. Our goal is to win the Big East championship. And, so to start with that, we get a chance to play at Providence. And our guys know what's at stake. They're going to be ready. They're going to be fired up. We're going to play really, really hard. The thing that I love about our team, John, is we have a lot of depth. If I feel like a guy's getting tired or I feel like a guy's slacking off a little bit on that defensive end, well, you can just come sit by me over on the bench. We'll throw somebody else in there. Then you can go back in the game later. That's the advantage of having depth, right, is that, But I do think our guys know, man, they're excited as all get out. We got a lot of new guys on our roster, and a big reason why they came to Xavier was to play in the Big East, to play in games like this at Providence. And I know they're really, really excited to get out there on Saturday evening.